All right, good morning. I'm a couple seconds early, but it doesn't matter because nobody's listening. Good morning. I already said that. This is Premarket Wake Up. My name's Frank. My community is called No More Paper Trading. The whole idea is to move away from trading fake money to trading real money with profits. I sell nothing. I sell no courses. I don't have any sponsorships, nothing like that. My goal, my personal goal in all this is for me to become a profitable trader. To the point that one day I will stop this. I will no longer stream. Well, maybe I'll do it just because. But it'll never be my source of income. I will never sell it. I will never, whatever. It'll always be free. Information should always be free. That's how it works. Therefore, I'm trying to grow this as organically as possible, which is why there's nobody here yet, except for me. But I enjoy it the same, so here it goes. As I go live, I don't believe there's any news releases. As far as I know, the U.S. government is still shut down. Like it matters anyway. Okay, so I think it is shut down yet. Some news later, which I'll talk about, but right now there's nothing. Let's take a look at the overnight. I usually go through on the 5-minute charts in the overnight for the ES, the NQ, the Russell, the Dow, gold, and oil. Over time, I might add to that as I broaden my investments and trading skills into other things. But that covers pretty much everything. If you're new, brand new, the ES is the S&P. The NQ is the NASDAQ. M2K and what's the RTY is the Russell. MYM, YM, that's the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It follows it for the futures. MGC is gold and MCL is oil. All right. ES overnight, kind of flat, I would say. Prices dropped a little at the open and didn't quite make it to opening range low, which is this red line, before recovering right to where we opened in the overnight. Not much going on there. We are now above yesterday's close. I don't see us heading lower again today. We've had how many days of higher highs and higher lows? This would be the 4th day if we have it. It's almost like the market likes it when the government shuts down. NASDAQ is going to be very similar, except it seems like price respected yesterday's close a bit more, which is this blue line. Whereas in the ES, kind of floated away from it. But also the NQ did not hit any key areas as price fell. Almost, you could say, but that's pretty arbitrary. Russell, very similar. Russell had a really nice clean hit on yesterday's low. Oops, is this yesterday's low? No, that's yesterday's close. Yeah. I can't see the label because I have time in sales, which I'm deciding if I want it or not. Anyway, the Russell is now recovering past yesterday's close, near to where the overnight opened. There's a very small area of resistance right above price right now, but it's not significant enough to trade off of. The Dow, very similar to the Russell. Price initially fell before recovering at around 4 a.m. I still have not finished my indicator that will put a line on where world markets open and close. So you would see a vertical line. I think it's 3 a.m. that Asia closes. I don't remember. That's why I want the indicator. But it's hard. First of all, I'm not the best coder. I use AI to help, and AI is only getting worse. I would like to take the time to really learn coding full force, but I spent the last 5 years learning trading. Why pivot now when the only reason I would learn coding is because it's interesting, one, but for trading. Anyway, there doesn't seem to be a way in PineScript to flag certain times with a vertical line. Into the future, on and on, I don't know, in a loop would be the term. I kind of got it working, but it would flag it every time a new bar would open, and you'd have 12 flags for the same time. I don't know. I'm going to keep working on it, but it's going to take longer than I thought because I have other priorities. All right, anyway, gold. Sorry, I went on a tangent there. It's going to happen often. Gold almost flat in the overnight after another all-time new high yesterday. Gold is dangerous. I bet you the minute I place a trade, it's gonna stop going higher. Anyway, in the overnight, gold did try to go lower for a little bit, but could not get past yesterday's opening range high. Also seems stuck right now at yesterday's high. Oil, quite flat in the overnight as well. Oil kind of looks similar to gold, doesn't it? No. No, not really. Oil seemed to bounce a little bit between yesterday's close and this large area of resistance here that was formed the overnight before and yesterday's normal trading hours high. I don't usually mark it. I mark the high of the entire futures day instead. I'm thinking about adding that type, especially since I already have normal trading hours open. And if you don't know, futures run from 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with till the following day at around 5 p.m. It's strange how futures works. There's a settlement at 4:15, which I mark as the close, but it doesn't really settle. There's still some last minute orders that get in till, I forget if it's 5 or 5:30. No, I'm pretty sure it's 5. And then the open is at 6. There's an hour break, and then the open is at 6. But I am considering adding 2 extra key areas. Normal trading hours high, normal trading hours low. I already have the close, which is the same as the whole entire day close. I already have normal trading hours open. So the addition of 2 lines would not be the end of the world. I think I'm going to do that. Let me put that in my to-do list. If you're a trader and you don't have a to-do list, you will always default to doing nothing. It's just how humans work. Normal trading. I always say normal trading hours. It's actually RTH, regular trading hours, is what most people say. But you say whatever you want to say. I say whatever I want to say. All right, so that's the overnight. Let's talk a little bit about news for today. I'll take a look at the CME Fed Watch, see if the chance of a rate cut went up at all. And then I'll take a look at some of the headlines just for shits and giggles. So I invest in the long term based on fixed strategies. I guess you would call it quantitative. But it's whatever I felt comfortable with. I trade those long term, but most of my day trading is futures. And for that, I don't care so much what the news is. I just care that it is at that time, so I can avoid the volatility. Anyway, today we have a couple Fed speeches. I would block those times out because it's the only news of the day, and people are really hoping for definite rate cuts, even maybe more rate cut hopes. Seems to be the only thing propping the market up. And apparently that's what's shooting gold to the moon, although I'm not quite so certain. Not that I have any other idea. I just have my doubts. I forget the reasoning why they say gold goes up for rate cuts. I looked it up the other day. You can borrow more? No, I don't know. Actually, I want to look it up right now because why not? And I wouldn't mind, I'll do it right now in real time, why not? Taking a look at gold on the long term during all the rate hikes and rate cuts and see how gold reacted leading up to it and then afterwards, after the rate hike or cut, to see if it's something that can be traded with any type of accuracy in the future. But I'm just reading, well, let's take a look. I don't really like how Investopedia makes this like 3 words wide. Okay, so people move money out of gold when rates move higher because you can make a higher income from it. However, there's little evidence that gold is consistently weakened by federal funds rate hikes or treasury yields. What about the other way around? Why don't they go into okay, so this is specifically hikes. I want to see okay, so that's their only excuse, that bonds get less attractive. So everybody puts their money into gold. Well, why don't they put it into the stock market or whatever else? I forget what I said the other day, that I think gold would fall when rates lower. Because companies are borrowing more money as rates lower, especially mid-cap and lower cap stocks. So therefore they would be pulling money out of gold, or other people would be pulling money out of gold, other traders, to invest in those mid-cap stocks that are benefiting from a rate cut. So I could see that's why I have my doubts. So what else could be causing this insane rise in the gold price? Well, let's just see what TradingView has on their quick little note here. This is the daily gold chart. Gold's rallying on borrowed time. Maybe it is because of the shutdown, because when people lose faith in governments, they tend to move money away from currencies and towards gold. That really could be it. Yeah, but then they say Goldman Sachs says gold ETF inflow rise reflects expectations of Fed rate cuts. But in the same sentence, gold's rally hints at trouble under the surface of US markets. So they don't know. They don't know either. They're saying gold will go to 5,000 an ounce by the end of next year. I wouldn't put money on that. near 5,000. All right, so same old we know nothing from the markets. But let's do a quick correlation of the last couple rate cuts and rate hikes on the price of gold. Oh, no, I'm not looking at Forbes. There we go. Wikipedia has a nice list of history of FOMC. So let's go back to I don't want to do anything with the emergency cut. They cut 2 whole points. During that. Let's go to December or March 2022 when they started raising rates. So from December 15th to March 16th, I'm going to have to do a continuous, which I think is right here. 2021, the end of 21. I'm guessing they skipped the January meeting. Why? In the beginning of 22. Huh. It's not listed here. Anyway, let's just say somehow the market knew towards the end of December that they were going to cut or raise rates, I'm sorry. So the market was heading up in gold, not the market. Gold was heading up. And then the cut, or I keep saying cut, then the raise, which was a quarter point, was on March 16th. So at the 9th, it started falling. Well, we don't know if it was that caused it. Very well could be. Usually the market reacts before the news. It'll react on the rumor. And the following May, there was a cut. May 4th. So this whole time gold is trending down. June 15th, there's a cut, I said again. There's a raise. Hike. That's what I'll call it, hike. June 15th, another hike. Gold keeps dropping. July 27th, another hike. Geez, that was 3/4 of a basis point. Gold started recovering a little bit. There was no So November was they met again. Or I'm sorry, September 21st. Another hike. Gold keeps dropping. Generally the trend is down. It seems like it stopped right here. Man, I wish I would have bought a whole bunch of it right then. Is this when they stopped hiking rates? No. They hiked and kept hiking all the way up into March 2024. Well, they stopped hiking around June 2023. I'm going to say that there seems to be no real direct effect. Nothing that can be measured. If you think differently, let me know. But look at that. All right, let's take a look at the FedWatch tool. I think it's actually down. Yeah, we're down from yesterday and down from last week. Down to 92% now. Chance of no cut is back up. Same thing for December. But yet, the market doesn't seem to have reacted. Maybe they're waiting for hints of what members of the Fed are going to say today. So, keep an eye out for that. I'm not going to watch any of the speeches, if they're even available. I don't think I could stay awake through it. All right, let's take a look at the headlines. See if there's anything of interest. Dell has strong AI server demand. I think that's going to break real soon. So I hate articles like this. U.S. stock futures hit pause after record-setting rally. Doesn't look to me like much of a pause. The overnight is higher than yesterday. I could see saying that if we had in the overnight went lower than yesterday's low. I could see saying that. But it's like if they don't say something that's different than yesterday, then I don't know. They lose their credentials of whatever integrity they used to have. Or maybe it's AI writing it. I bet it is AI writing all this stuff. I don't like this. Right here. Why is the U.S. government taking stake in companies? That is a terrible idea. Correct me if I'm wrong, but even during World War II, when we had to convert all of our industry over to war materials, I don't think the US took any stakes in any companies. This can only end badly. It's like he looks at China and says, I want to do that. That's freaking terrible. I don't know. I think we're reaching a moment in history that has happened before multiple times in history. We seem to go through these levels, these ebbs and flows of zeitgeist, I guess would be the word, maybe not. But we seem to be in a period right now where no politicians anywhere, on either side, do anything that the public want them to. They always seem to do the wrong thing. Death by a million cuts. It seemed like we were heading towards something a little bit better. But neither party is correcting themselves in any country. I'm not one of those that thinks, the world's going to collapse. Because even when the Roman Empire collapsed, it happened quite slowly and over a long time, and other empires rose. And the Middle Ages weren't. I could see us entering the Middle Age, or maybe Middle Ages, medieval times. I could see us entering something like that, but it would take hundreds of years to slowly get into that. Kind of sucks, but what are you gonna do? All right, let's check. Yeah, I'm depressed by the news. I don't want to look at any news. So I went over it yesterday. Next week, whole lot of earnings coming out. I think it's going to be, the numbers are going to be pumped up big time. A lot of companies are really struggling to put out very good numbers right before the end of the year. So they're either gonna report great numbers, however they have to stretch it. Of course, you can't hide the worst of the worst, but there's ways to fudge it and present it, and they'll have all these insane outlooks for the end of the year. This is just me speculating. I don't remember. I know nothing. Also, they can get a bonus, so they can get a great fat Christmas bonus. Oil is crashing right now. I wonder if anything happened. Well, it's 9 o'clock. Did I miss some news about oil? No? No, I didn't. That could be nothing. All right, let's get into key areas for today. I don't have too much as we set up to make all-time new highs again. But let's take a look anyway. I will be looking back and forth at the 5-minute charts and the daily. Those are the only two charts I use. On the daily for the ES, we're looking at, I think we just made, yeah, we just broke above the current month high, which is an all-time new high. I don't know if we'll remain above. If we do, I would say look for a pullback to that area. I am not really good at predicting prices in key areas going up in no man's land. If price hasn't been there before, I'm pretty bad at pointing them out. I would like to learn more about that. But the only thing I have is the R1 pivot point up at 68.54. But I don't like to trade at the highs anyway. I don't like to try to pick the high as a short. I might go long on a pullback. But we'll see. If it starts really going higher, if it starts one time framing higher, I might scalp. Or try to anyway, just to see how it goes. I'm still learning how I want to scalp, what's comfortable for me. Anyway, if we head lower, the ES, I'd say we only have yesterday's close and yesterday's low. With yesterday's low being probably the most important area heading lower. That's at 67.66. On the NQ, very similar. Look for a pullback to yesterday's high. Also significant would be yesterday's close. No, that's not yesterday's close. Yeah, it is. Because yesterday's close was also at the high of Friday and Thursday. So that is another significant area to look at. Also with the overnight sticking there pretty good. As you can see here at 25, around 25,185. If we do head lower than that, there's definitely previous month's high. That's a huge area at 25,000 and some change, 27. Which also happens to be several days highs. There's a huge area right there. Before next week, or sometimes before the end of this week, I could see us coming back there to gather more buyers. The Russell, kind of taking off right now too. It's kind of funny, just as they say stock market's taking a pause, it does the opposite. Almost like they know. Almost like they're doing it on purpose. Anyway, if we head higher, we have yesterday's high to get through yet. At around 25.18. If we head lower, not much there. Yesterday's low, for sure, at around 24.90. That'll be a key area. Again, I could see the Russell coming back to the close, previous month's close, at 24.55 before the end of next week. Maybe not. Yeah, that's several days of progress there. Maybe we'll come back to... Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to keep an eye on that one. I kind of want to stay away. The Dow, previous month's high is a large area in our way right now. We are actually sitting right there right now. That would have been a good scalp. Taking a quick short right there. That is a key area we have to get past. If we do get past, look for a pullback to that area. I wouldn't put my profit higher than yesterday's high. I would only do a quick scalp because who knows? There's a lot to get through here. And then of course above that we have Friday's high at 47,325 area. If we turn around and head lower, we have yesterday's close, which also happens to be the overnight open. Well, no shit. Also in the overnight, oops, I was looking at the wrong one. Price did respect yesterday's close. Held up there for a little bit in the overnight. If we head beyond that, we definitely have last month's close. So last month's close for the Dow is a bit closer than it is for the Russell, so maybe I could see us pulling back to there. I'm going to say in the next 3-4 days. Trading days, obviously. So keep an eye out for that. I will. I will probably set an alarm for something like that. So in these crazy bull markets, which isn't that crazy of a bull market for the Dow or the Russell. But anyway, for these types of bull markets, I usually wait for a decent pullback. Just because it can get very volatile up at the highs. Alright, for gold, again, I'm staying away from gold for the same reason. It's just keep heading higher. There's a fever pitch. Just keep wanting to go up and up. But if you want to trade it, definitely look out for the R1 pivot point at 40.13, which we're heading towards right now. Barely even paused at what was the current month high and yesterday's high. It paused at yesterday's high a little bit. If we do pull back, which I hope we do, yesterday's close might be significant. But beyond that, there's not much else. On a daily, I don't really see much. That looks good to me. I'm staying away from gold. At least until a longer term opportunity presents itself. Right now, you're just gambling, buying at the tops. Unless that's your strategy. I don't know. That's not what I do. All right, oil. Already recovered from that big drop in oil. I don't know what happened. Yeah, who knows? Not me. Anyway, with oil, we're in this mess of resistance and support. I would have never guessed that oil would have stopped there. I don't know if it's because the government shut down, but oil is not really respecting any certain areas. Except in the overnight, it definitely respected opening range low. But did not really give a hoot about previous month's low. It did stop at yesterday's low though, so I don't know. It's a toughie. It's a tough one, oil. I don't spend enough time on it to really understand it, except for longer term trades, which I've taken too many losses in that recently that I'm staying away from oil as well. If you can teach me anything about it, I would be appreciative of that. Anyway, that's all I have for today. About 14 minutes till the open. Good luck, everyone. Link to the community is in the description. One day I hope to have some people here to help me learn, and I can help others learn the small amounts of information I know. All right, goodbye, good luck. I don't know if I will be, what's today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. At least one of those days I will not be in the morning. I don't know yet which day. I will post on that as soon as I know. Goodbye.